what's up, everybody? Daniel Kaiser for GameTrailers.com here at E3 2010, joined by Keith from Sega now to talk about Vanquish, highly anticipated title. You guys debuted on GTTV, and now you're showing it off at E3 2010. Keith, tell us a little bit about the game and what you're showing off here.
So Vanquish is a third-person action shooter developed by Platinum Games with Sega. It takes place in the near future, and it is a conflict between Russia and the United States. These robots that we're seeing here, those are actually Russian robots. The main character is Sam Gideon. He actually isn't a soldier himself. He's part of the research team that developed this super suit. It gives him superhuman speed and reflexes, and that's what allows him to go toe-to-toe with these powerful robots and hang with the Marines that are actually up there in the conflict. The main points of this game, it's a third-person shooter, but it's actually a third-person action shooter. It's got a lot of action elements in it. It has the boost ability, which you can do at will. It also has a special system called AR, Augmented Reaction. The Augmented Reaction system, it's a passive and an active system. The passive mode is when you take damage, the system it has sensors that detect when the wearer is taking damage, and it automatically kicks in to mitigate that damage. It slows things down and gives the wearer time to either kill whatever is hurting you or to escape from wherever that damage is coming from. The active version, this is the passive version. The active version then is you activate it intentionally. You use it to pull up headshots, skirt around enemies that are moving too quick. You slow them down, hold them in place. That's what it is.
Excellent. I mean, the game's pretty intense, playing it in real time here on the GT stage. So tell us a little bit about Shinji Mikami's ability to create something here that's different, just a little more. What was the objective in terms of creating something that's a little separated from the Resident Evil franchise?
Well, that certainly is Shinji Mikami's forte. I mean, he's the father of survival horror. This time around, though, he was looking for a new challenge, and there are not a lot of third-person shooters. There are not a lot of shooters made in Japan, and so he saw that as his opportunity to set himself apart. I'm going to do one of those games. But then again, in typical Mikami style, in typical Platinum Game style, they wanted to do something that wasn't just run-of-the-mill. They didn't want to just come up with their own third-person shooter. They wanted to come up with a third-person action shooter and put in that unique something that is them.
Excellent. Now talk a little bit about the uniqueness of this game. Obviously we're seeing a lot of action taking place right now, but talk a little bit about the weapons in the game. You talked about the suit. Go a little more in depth for us if you can, and tell us a little bit about what we can expect in terms of gameplay on those fronts.
Well, one of the key points here then is there's a variety of weapons. There's also situational types of devices here. There's vehicles that you can climb on, gun turrets you can take control of, and those are all sort of in the environment that aren't limited to just what you can carry. Here we see on the screen he's got 3 weapons that are whipped on the lower right-hand side of the screen, and Sam actually carries a unique battle pod. It's not just any old weapon, and as you play through the environment you can pick up more weapons, and it's not that you're picking up weapons that enemies have dropped. What he's doing with this weapon pod is scanning other weapons and then replicating them. And so you replicate all the way down to the, finding scratches and things on these various weapons. As you acquire more of the same weapon, you'll be able to actually upgrade your weapons. They'll do more damage, hold more ammunition. And so it's a continual thing of, do I want to continue to try to upgrade this particular type of weapon, or trade it out for maybe a sniper rifle or something more powerful, or however, I say more powerful, there's a caveat to that though, because each weapon in the game is designed to have its own unique merits and demerits. So it's not always upgrading to get the next better weapon as you play through the game. It's finding something that you like. And so that's another key component of this game, as with most Platinum games, that there's a lot of freedom of choice, freedom of play. A player can choose to play, if you want to use the AR system a whole bunch, or if you want to use it very lightly, it's totally up to you to do.
Looks like this battle sequence is culminating in a boss fight or a mini boss or what. Can you tell us exactly what role that plays in the game in terms of, are we going to be seeing some big, huge, epic boss battles?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's some bosses in here that are just totally off the hook. They're just, unbelievable in scale. What we're going to see now is sort of a first taste of that. As soon as he gets up to there, we'll see a first taste of that. But things just get bigger and crazier as you go along. And the thing of it is not every stage necessarily ends with a boss fight. It ties very directly into the storyline. So where it's appropriate, where it makes sense within the greater context of the story, and your place within that story.
And tell us a little bit about that story, exactly where the game is taking place. We've seen in the launch trailer the conflict that's happening. So tell us a little bit about the setting and what we can expect in terms of the environments.
Okay. Well, I don't want to go into too much detail. I don't want to give too much away. But I can say that it's set in the very near future, and there is the economic downturn that we're experiencing today only gets worse in this future. It's a little bit dystopian. Russia and the United States are vying for control of resources, that is actually sort of the source of this conflict between them. There are only so many resources to go around. Populations of the Earth just keep growing and growing and growing. So it culminates in this conflict. The entirety of the game takes place on this satellite. This satellite itself is a massive energy collector, and it's beaming this energy back to Earth, and or back actually to the United States. So it's kind of an advantage for the U.S. Russian forces come in, seize control of this satellite, and it's up to the Marines, along with Sam, the main character, to go in and liberate this satellite and regain control of it.
Excellent.